Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today I'm going to put you guys on game. So if you want to make ambient pianos and like really custom sound design, this video is for you. So firstly, we're going to right click and we're going to open up just any kind of basic piano. Let's even use a stock plugin here called FL Keys just to show you how we can do this. So firstly, we have to draw notes. Okay, let's lower the BPM to somewhere around like 100 or so. Let's right click, let's go to piano roll. And really, it doesn't matter the deep music theory here. We're just trying to create melody. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll add the root notes and then we'll do an octave higher and play out a simple chord. In this case, we'll play D, F, A. And what we'll do is we'll space the notes out to where it's like tresillo. So it's like tresillo, sillo, if you guys watch my last video. So it's like it's the tresillo pattern, but just spread out over time. So we're just skipping the same amount of notes each time. Okay, it's just something basic to where the notes are spread out. Now we're gonna take this basic thing and make it cooler. So let's drag this pattern one into the playlist here. We're gonna right click, consolidate tracks from track start. We want to cut remainder. We want a waveform, 32-bit stereo. We want high quality. We want it at 512 point sync. And we want the insert effects if you guys have any, and trim the PDC. So let's hit start. Now we have this as audio. We can double click in here and we can right click. Now what I recommend you guys do, I don't know why FL Studio does this, but it adds a silence here, which F's up so much. So let's just go to sample start and pull that up a little bit. And let's right click and open in a fruity granulizer. So this will open up the entire file. So even though that didn't change anything, but anyway, we're going to turn up the randomness here and we're going to mess with the grain spacing and we're going to turn up the hold parameter and we're going to put it on loop mode. So now we're going to mess with the grain space until we get the density that we want. So what it's doing is it's randomly chopping the sample, playing from different points in the audio, and then it's looping the audio. And it's stretching the actual sample. Okay, so let's add that note. And now what we could do is go inside our channel rack and just play notes like you would normally. Let's record some. The goal with this is to make it random. Okay, let's hit Control L. And now we're going to use a plugin called by Steven Slate called Verb Suite Classics. Now I'll show you guys a free way to do this in FL Studio, but you have to go through like a couple steps. You have to download what are called impulse responses, but I'll show you guys the companies to look for. So first, let's do it with the paid plugin that actually sounds good. So here we're going to turn the wet level all the way up for this specific reverb. So here we have a dry wet level. This will balance the unaffected signal with the affected signal. So as we turn this wet level up, okay, we're starting to create a space. Let's turn the wet level all the way up. And now to make it more ambient, we're going to turn up what's called the decay time. We want this to be around like 3 to 4 seconds or as high as it can go. Now in this case, it only goes to 2 seconds. So we're going to switch the environment to something a lot bigger. Hopefully it's easy to load up, but we're going to look for anything that's labeled like hall reverb because halls are very big. Okay, so we're going to turn this up. So a lot of these aren't giving me the max, milliseconds, but you want to look for stuff that gives you really long milliseconds. Usually that's not going to be labeled as drums. So let's go for like strings. Or at the cathedral, there we go, 5 seconds. Okay, now if we wanted to spice this up, we can add some delay to create like a ping pong effect. Let's add the fruity delay 3. We're gonna put it on ping pong mode and we're gonna widen the width. What this is gonna do is basically just allow the signal to be spread and occur more often. We're gonna put this on high pass filter and cut out some of the lows here. So now when we let that note go, it kind of fades. So let's show you the free versions of how to do this. Now again, I like this Slate Digital company. They have really nice clean reverbs. Let's load up the next one called Lux Verb by Image Line. I slept on this plugin for way too long. So what we can do with this is, I'll be short because we can make a whole video about this, is turn on the feedback, and then we're going to turn on the gain for the feedback. What this is doing is going to pitch up the reverb up 12 semitones, which means it's going to pitch it up an octave. So even if I turn off the reverb, hear that like trail. Okay, now with the reverb tail, we can blend it so it softens it out. And now we can go back to the actual granulizer to get the specific tone that we want. All right, so that's how we can mess with that. You can also pitch this down an octave. I wouldn't recommend it unless you guys are just trying to get experimental. We can also balance the dry level and turn it off so it's just the reverb and the feedback that we're hearing. And we can bring the dry level back in. So what I would do is just automate this over time. Just right click, create an automation clip. Let's arrange this in the playlist. Let's go to song mode. So you'd be amazed what you guys can do with stock plugins and like understanding sound design. That's why I teach sound design at busyworksbeats.com/premium. You guys can learn cool stuff like this. Let's create automation clip. I think I already did actually. Okay, here's the automation. So we're going to turn this automation, let's start up and then go down, meaning we're going to get more reverb as we go along. And I'll show you guys one more technique, which is through the Fruity Convolver. Let me find the folder of samples here, if I can find it. All right, so you guys want to look for this. Hold on, let me pause this. You guys want to look for these online. You could download these online. Liquid Sonics Bricasti M7 Fusion IR sources. So what they do is they sample real environments and real equipment, and they put them into impulse responses. And these samples can be loaded up into convolution reverbs so that you can get the sound of the environment. It's like sampling. You could sample a room, and then I could run my sound. I can multiply my sound through the room to make it sound like it's in the room. And also look for Simplicity Bricasti Impulse Responses version 2023. So these are the folders you guys can get the raw impulse responses from. We're going to go to the Halls folder. Now, some people label their stuff as 4 microphones, and some people label it as stereo. So you might get, depending on the plugin you guys use, you might get errors. Just make sure you're pulling from the ones that are stereo and not 4 mics. Okay, I know that's more advanced, but only until you guys run into an error does that matter. So anyway, we're going to go to the Hall reverb and select this area. Just drag it into Fruity Convolver. So now Fruity Convolver will, that's what the sample sounds like. So they smack this, like, I forget what they smack, maybe like an aluminum foil or something. Or it creates a noise and they shoot the noise out, and basically we're starting to hear the reflections back to the microphone. And that's how they record these impulse responses. So now that we have that space, that's the sample that we're loading, we can run our music through that sample. So it sounds more complicated than what it is. Once you guys download the impulse responses, the short answer is you could just drag and drop them into Fruity Convolver. And then you're just gonna run you're gonna open this on your sound and then run your sound through Fruity Convolver. So let's turn the dry level down. So now all we hear is the reverb. So these reverbs are a lot cleaner, in my opinion, than like Fruity Reverb 2. Okay, but we don't get that pitched up effect like we get in Luxverb. So let's combine these, see if create a sound. want people who just kind of skip to the end, I want you guys to hear where we started from. Here's where we started from, just as a reminder. We turned this, that sound, we turned this basic sound into this. Pretty heavenly stuff. So if you guys want to make real ambient, that's how you do it, right inside of FL Studio. If you guys want to learn more, go to busyworksbeats.com/premium. I'll teach you all the secrets the pros know. All right, guys, subscribe if you're new. Like this video, share with a friend. Peace.